Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. Still working on the moon base build, but this is part 2. This is the part where we're going to go ahead and launch these rockets, or these pieces into space. So let's go ahead and head into the vehicle assembly building. Okay, so now that I've tested the base on the runway, I come down here, and yes, it's over. All the modifications that I did while I was in the ship plane hangar, the save file is now in the ship plane hangar. So I got to bring it back over to the VAB. So to do that, I go to the ship plane hangar load screen for in the VAB, load it, and then I hit the save. And now it's saved in the VAB save file. But yeah, there's the base right there. Now, how am I going to get this all up there? Well, we're going to do this in segments. So what we want to do is we want to start building sub-assemblies off this. And to do that, we got to figure out, okay, I know this is going to be one of sub-assemblies. So I want to grab this top decoupler. Whoa, what happened there? Oops. Undo. Okay, I know what happened. Okay, so what just happened there is the top decoupler and all these pieces up here are all part of this whole, I built them as 4. So I got to grab from here and pick all these parts up real quick. Just like that. Just lift them right up off the craft. So that way I can come in here and grab the decoupler, because when I grab it, all 4 of them disappear. And I want to make sure I place it down correctly. So I gotta get the battery in the right spot. There we are. And then duplicate the part and do the same thing at all 4 of them. There we go. And you just keep flipping it over until the battery hits the right spot. And then we can go ahead and grab our parts and put them all back in place where they belong. Just like that. So now I can go ahead and build sub-assemblies. So what I do is I grab that top decoupler. So I'm detaching only the part that's going to be connecting back to this craft. And then I start adding them in here. So let's go moon base fuel 1. Save. And now I don't need that part. And then we come over here, grab that piece off, and we'll add it to this, and that's going to be called moon base refuel oops. I wanted rover after that. There we go. Save, and then delete that. And we just do this for all of the sub-assemblies that we're going to be building here. This is the fuel 2. Moon base, fuel 2. So there, now I've got all of the parts saved. Right there. I've got my fuel tank 1 and 2, my living quarters, my mining module, and then there's the refuel bit rover. And I don't know why the struts broke here. So we'll go ahead and grab them. Go back down to 4. There we go. Now we've got to get this basic moon base up in the air. Well, how are we going to do that? I'm going to do it upside down. So that's actually the top of the craft. I know it seems a little counterproductive, but you'll see. And then we're going to need a stack decoupler. Now this is going to be a very slow craft to get into space, because I don't want to go too fast because I might burn something up. Oh wait, what did I do there? No. Okay. Engines. See, what kind of engine do I want to put on the mainsail? Yeah, we'll put a mainsail there. And I want to put a Sepatron on this. And the whole purpose of the Sepatron is to try and help pull the stacks away as they separate. So let's go ahead and put structural components into this. Okay, and we also need fuel, because I'm doing this as an asparagus staging. So I'm also going to need fuel lines here. So there. Now that should be enough component structural. Oh, we need air caps, aerodynamics. Okay, now we just copy this. Add it just like that. See, it's putting enough structural components in to try and keep these things straight. Oh wait, actually, hold on. That's too many main cells. I want to change that to skippers. Actually. And yes, this is overkill, but now this, I want to place this Sepatron actually on the inside, because I want it to push it away from the stack. Like that. Okay. And this Sepatron is going to actually get put right about there. Okay, so this is what I'm going to use to get this thing into the air. And I can use this on every launch, too. Let's change this to moon base launch. And we'll save it as that. Now we got to get everything set up. Now I want, when these separate, that's when I want the Sepatrons to fire. So I gotta move the Sepatrons, and I want all the engines to go off at the same time. Then these Sepatrons go with that stack. These motors come down here. And it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Get everything put where it's supposed to be. Okay, so this Pt3 fires off with those. Okay, so there you go. That's the launch vehicle I'm going to use. Now, the only problem with this is because I'm launching upside down, we're going to have contradicting forces on which way to point. So what we want to do is we want to set up a kind of a, where are we controlling this thing from? So I'm going to bring this down, and I'm going to put a probe body in there the correct way, and I'm going to control it from there. And then on top of that, we want to put in a little bit more support here. And it seems I did forget something on the build phase. Got to make sure I'm not blocking that door. There we go. So yeah, we'll save this and launch it. Alright, real quick, I decided to add a power source to this. So whatever's left over, I can try and bring back down to Kerbin and land it and recover it. To try and do a VTOL system, I think it's what it's the acronym. I'll have to check on that. But I added the powers because I got this probe on here, so I could bring this stack back home and try to land it back at Kerbin. But we'll see. Right now, let's get this thing in orbit. Now remember, this thing's going to be very unruly to fly. Guidance unit control from here, so that way we're looking the correct way up. SAS on. Oh, my stack got all messed up when I put that new unit in there. Nuts. Okay, put the motors back down here. So look at that, full throttle. Look how fast I'm moving up. That's why I said this is going to be a very slow launch to get this thing in orbit. That's why I put so much fuel in this thing. Alzir Kerbin, our faithful pilot for the moon lander. Look at that, we've made it a whole 380 meters in the air, and we're halfway through one of our fuel tanks stacks, our first stack. See how fast we're using up fuel. 445 liters of liquid fuel per second. Let's see how this separation goes. Oh, what blew up there? Okay, it was none of our motors, so that's good news. Let's watch our next fuel tank, because each stack that disappears we use less fuel. Now we're using only 371 per second. They're all hitting the ground down there. They done? Nope. Still got a couple more stacks. There they go. One more stack to go. Oh, we're at 10,000 feet. Let's bring up. I gotta start doing some turns. Changing our attack angle. Getting ready for the next stack to separate. I want to gain altitude because I don't want to burn anything up. But now we've got to start gaining orbital speed, so we got to start changing our angle of attack a little bit. You don't want to go too far, because if the air grabs the top of this, it will tilt it over. Then you'll start flipping. But we're only 1/4 of the way to our orbital speed. We're at 600 meters per second orbital. We want to get it to, what is it, 2230. All right, 80,000's good. Add a maneuver. And let's get this thing rotated around. Now we need to tell her to follow that. And Alzur will start moving the craft over towards our maneuver node. Ever so slowly. But you see that? We need to change our orbital speed by 1,500. Look at that, I framed the sun. Now we're losing altitude. But there's our camera flip to tell us that we've hit orbit. Now we just need to check our peri-apps, 80,000, and our apo-apps. There we are. Okay, now I need to come in here. Rename vessel. And this is going to be lander, moon base. Done. Accept. Actually, hold up. I did the wrong. Rename vessel. I wanted base, not lander. Accept. And we can go ahead and turn off SAS now. So yeah, I'm going to keep this all attached because that's going to be the fuel that I use to get the base out to Mun. Is going to be these 5 rockets here. Or to Minmus. That should be plenty of delta V between all that to get this whole entire base over there. So let's get back to the Space Center and launch our next unit out here. So yeah, what we do is we take our same launching system we just had, and we're just going to take that and I'm going to add it to subassemblies. So there, now I can go new, don't save. And what I do is I come over here and load the launch. And what that does is it already gives me a probe body to operate this craft from. Oh. It actually wants to use the coupler as the main linking point. So yeah, it's still the same build and everything. And let's see, what do we want to do? Now here's a nice little trick. I did modify this a little bit. I added a reaction wheel here at the top of the launch system. But we can take this, which is just your 60 monopropellants, place them just like this, and then we rotate them. (180), and then go offset and place it inside, just like that. So yeah, now the parts, as I come down, you see that? They're inside the reaction wheel. I just added 8 of those for monopropellant, which is going to be very useful because as I go center of mass, it's going to be down there. We're going to want to add RCS thrusters so we can actually dock this thing. Now the reason I added 3 sets and all on the center staging is because I'm going to drop everything else off before I as I go to rendezvous. And then I'm going to use the monopropellant to actually dock, the RCS to dock these into place. So yeah, see, I'm able to launch both the fuel tanks up at the same time. And I'll be able to do the same with the other module. I'll be able to launch them both at the same time. Structural struts, secure these. So yeah, there you go. I'll go ahead and get this launched up, and I'll see you guys up at the lander. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and park these things in a little bit of a higher orbit and get them all up there, and then I'll start doing the rendezvous and everything like that. So let's get this up to 90,000. Yeah, that'll work. Because the last time I put it in an 80,000 is where I started the maneuver. Oh, did these tanks empty out? Yep. Let's go ahead and drop those off. So I'm going to apply a little bit of thrust. And as soon as I go full throttle, then I'm going to drop those. So I'm not carrying the extra weight. There we go. Go ahead and separate. Uh-oh. And I was afraid of that. Now I'm completely off center. So we are going to have to yeah, that'll work. Okay, we'll call that good. We're in orbit, It's not pretty. But we are in orbit. And it's somewhat stable orbit. At least I was able to rescue that one. Okay, so this one, all we gotta do here is we've already got this all set up. Is disconnect this, get rid of it. Come to our sub-assemblies, and let's add the mining. And then we'll add the living. But before we add the living, we got to come up and put another clampatron there. And I'm going to need another clampatron. Actually, no, I don't need another clampatron. Because I've got this up here. And that I could probably use to actually put all these things into place once I get them in the correct orbit and close to it. I could probably use this one craft to put them all in place. The only problem is it's going to be the center of mass versus the thrusters are going to be way off. So I'll still probably end up using one of these big ones. Okay, so we were able to get this one up and still have a lot of fuel left over too. Relatively. So that's good news. Now I did turn SAS off just so I can save the battery on this thing. Well, actually, no, we got the reactor on this. I forgot. So we can just turn SAS on and let it try to gain stability. Only using the reaction wheel. That's going to be fun. Now, one thing I did do on all these launches is I went to this connection point where the two couplers are connected, decouplers, and I deactivated crossfed. So that way I wasn't burning any fuel up here. Any of the fuel. I'm using only the fuel down here by doing that. So that's something you might want to do on your launches too. But I think that's going to be it for this one. In the next episode, I will get all this stuff connected up, and we'll actually get this thing to Mun and to Minmus. I'll show you the two different the way to get to both of them. So, and I'm not sure if I'm going to bring the refueling rover up in these episodes or not. If I do, it will be a separate launch completely from Kerbin all the way to Mun or Minmus, wherever I send it. But yeah, now you kind of see how I'm building this. So hopefully that helps you guys out, and you can get your crafts, your bases started up for different places. But anyways, I'm Cat Trans Gamer, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye!